Well, welcome back. This is part 2 of how to implement GTD, or David Allen's Getting Things Done methodology using CulturedCode's Things software application. Now, part 1 was all about capturing stuff all out of our heads so that we have everything that is currently gaining our attention somewhere external that we can look at and use the data and manipulate it in a way that's helpful to us. And a lot of this is what David Allen calls stuff. It's things that have our attention, but we don't necessarily have an action associated with it, but we know that we should do something about maybe. And for instance, buy some cat food. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's just something I need to do. And so whenever I have the time available, I'm going to do that. But work on social media strategy, that's a little bit more ambiguous, and we don't know what the exact next action is until we've done the hard knowledge work of figuring out what's the very next thing I need to do in relation to that in order to consider it checked off and done inside of my mind. And that, I believe, is what we would consider to be a project. Now, projects are anything that have to do with more than one action in order to consider them completed. So a couple of projects that you can see I'm working on is remodel the kitchen, clean the shed, water seal the basement. These are things that I have next actions to complete, and I need to do those things before I can check the project off as done. So what we're going to do is drag work on a social media strategy over to our projects, and you see it disappears from the inbox, and it's now available inside of our projects tab over here. And you can see there says 0 items, and the reason that it keeps tabs of all the amount of items that are available inside of that project is because one of the tenets of GTD is for us to ask the question, what's the next action? In relation to work on a social media strategy, I think more accurately it would be complete social media strategy. And so then I ask the question, what's the next action as it relates to that? Because, okay, complete social media strategy, that's not really something you do. There's related actions that you do, and then you say, I've completed social media strategy. So my next physical action would probably be research social media software online. And now I have a next physical action that I can take whenever I have the time or energy to do so. And that goes all the way to fulfill destiny as human spirit on planet. That might be a higher level project, something that David Allen would call a 40,000 foot view piece of information that you'd be looking at. But what's the next action? I mean, just as I did that with the social media firm, I'm going to say fulfill destiny as human spirit on planet goes into my projects list. If it's something I truly care about and something I truly want to make sure gets done, what's my next action as it relates to that? And so for me personally, different people, it would look different. I would probably research local area churches. And I would just, look into where I could get some spiritual guidance. And so things like taking kids to the soccer practice and buying some cat food, these are next actions. And so I go ahead and put them in my next list right here.